YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, back in here with yet one more video. Now guys, you see the title of the video. I'm sure a lot of you are up in arms right now, like, yo, what is MTR talking about? What is Mediocre talking about? But listen, I've talked about this in the past that, when you think about the concept of marriage, it kind of doesn't make sense. I think that for men in this day and age, I think we can all agree that there's a lot of components of it that strips away rights. But I've come across a YouTube couple, I've come across a YouTube video where I think that if you think about the business sense of marriage, the business sense, not that lovey-dovey stuff, if you think about the business sense, I think that they figured something out. So I wanted to bring it to your guys' attention. I wanted to be able to share this knowledge. I think it is incumbent on me, and I feel like the people that are subscribing to this channel are those that want to critically think about the things that they're seeing. So I got to be able to show both sides of the coin, because we're not lemmings over here. We don't just hate things to hate things. We look at the CNN, and then we look at the Fox News, we look at the Judge Report, and then we look at Vice, right? We do all of these things and extract information to more inform how we can live better lives. And fact of the matter is, I think that as men, if you're considering legacy from a business perspective, this is an example of how it can actually work. And I think the importance of being able to share this knowledge is because the things that they're going to be talking about is not things that you will ever see widely publicized on TV in like commercials or anything like that. They are a couple that have taken on what's called the f.i.r.e. lifestyle. Now, what is f.i.r.e.? f.i.r.e. is an acronym that stands for Financially Independent, Retire Early. And I love this concept. I love the phrase. I think that the idea of financial independence is not something that is widely publicized. And in fact, what's widely publicized is this idea of consumerism. It's this idea of living up with the Joneses, buying the next best, buying the bigger and better, right? Buying more than what your neighbor has in order to feel adequate, in order to feel whole. That's what the advertisers push into your mind from a very young child all the way into adulthood. And they push it in a way where they're not going to advertise financial independence, because how are they going to make money if you don't live in this consumerism lifestyle, right? But I think what happens is that it sets up this false expectation of what exactly happiness is. Buying the next biggest and best thing, going to the mall for the sake of buying things that you think that you might need to fulfill some deep down happiness or emptiness that resides within your life. So what does financial independence mean? Essentially, it means that they have built up enough passive income and investments that what they make off of that is more than the amount of money it costs for them to live. So essentially, they can quit their full-time jobs and live off of their passive income and investments. It's a goal that many don't ever reach, right? And it's a goal that when people reach 65, whatever age that they retire at, they still could be struggling, or they still could be relying off of the government to help with their expenses. I think that it's key to understand that every purchase that you make has the opportunity to hold off time until you can retire. I mean, think about it from the perspective of, you want to buy a fancy new car, it's $50,000 a year, and you have to get a loan in order to get it. After the time that you pay off of your loan, you end up paying $65,000 to $70,000, depending upon how quickly that you pay that off. Now, if you had that $70,000 in the 7 to 8 years that it took you to pay it off, and you invested all of that money with that compound interest, that's money that you can use, substantial amount of money that you could use in retirement that could last you 4, 5, 6 years. And that's the power of compounding interest. But instead, in order to fit in this consumerism lifestyle, you spent your money on something that's not an asset. It's not going to make you money. And in fact, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it's going to depreciate in value. And that's time that is away from your goal of, or at least of my goal of financial independence, right? So these are all things that you have to think about. But listen, I've been rambling for a little while. I'm gonna play a component of this couple's video. Again, so they are married. They have 2 kids, and by the age of 40, they have attained financial independence. But I'm gonna come back and chime in at certain times just to make certain points more concrete.
But we have quit our jobs. We are sitting in our empty house, and we are going on our next adventure in early retirement.
So if you've been watching our channel, you know that this has been an 8-year journey for us, but we've really started documenting it on YouTube for the past year. So I am 41 and Aman is 39.
So the average of that is 40. So I like to say we retired at 40.
So we were so excited to announce that we're retiring early that we skipped over introductions and we got right to it. But if you're new to this channel, I am Christina.
And I'm Aman.
And our channel is all about making money, investing money, and saving money on the road to financial independence.
We use this channel to chronicle our journey to inspire others. And we have gotten to a point where we have reached FIRE. And so on today's video, we are going to share with you a couple of things. How we achieved FIRE, what our FIRE number is, and where we are retiring to.
So let's start off with how we achieved FIRE. Now we've made almost 100 videos so far on our YouTube channel, and in those videos we talk about how to save money, invest money, and make money, all on the road to financial independence. So we are gonna summarize those videos very quickly for you, but we are gonna go into a more detailed video in the future on the exact steps that we took for financial independence. But for now, let's focus on a summary of how we achieved FIRE. The first thing was achieving a high savings rate. Right now we save about 70% of our income, but in the last 8 years we've saved anywhere from 50 to 70% of our income.
And there's one caveat that we must...
Just real quick, 50 to 70% of your income is massive. So they're gonna get into some ways that they've been able to do that, but a lot of that comes from, I think they live rent or mortgage free. You know, I think you can finagle it actually if you buy a duplex, for example. You live on one side, but you charge the other side, but you're paying one mortgage. Oftentimes what you can charge for the other side of the duplex is more money than the actual mortgage. So you can live, if not rent free, then close to rent free.
Make is that over this past 8 years that we've been saving and investing for financial independence, we spent 3 of those 8 years on one income.
So the second thing that we did to achieve FIRE is we cut out our housing costs. So over the past 10 years, we've been living rent and mortgage free, and we have a video on how we've done that.
The third thing we did is we took every single dollar that we saved and we invested it in real estate and in the stock market. In real estate, we did something called slow flipping, where we lived in a home, fixed it up, and moved to the next home. We have a video chronicling how we did that exactly. The second thing we did with our extra money is that we invested it, and we invested it in low-cost index funds.
And if you've been watching our videos on our Robinhood series, you know that we also invest in individual stocks. But the individual stocks are just a very small percentage of our investment income, and the majority of it is from index funds, ETFs, and REITs.
Just real quick, they flip houses, they'll move into houses, they'll build the house up and then move. They have low-cost index fund. They're recording YouTube videos. They still have full-time jobs. Not to mention that they also have children, right? They're working. They're not sitting back every day watching TV. They're not sitting back wasting their time. They are working.
And fourth, we side hustled. I mean, we were side hustling our butt off. We have had Etsy stores. We have sold things on Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist. We have had Airbnbs. If there was a side hustle, we were taking full advantage of it. And with the money that we made from those side hustles, we invested them in stocks and real estate. And fifth, and this is the most important thing, is that we lived on a budget. But not just any budget, we lived on a pay yourself first budget, where we prioritized our investing. Before we paid any bills, before we took on any other expenses, we made sure that the first expense we paid was to ourselves. And we chronicle this exactly how we do it in our pay yourself budget video.
And the unique thing about our FIRE journey, what I love so much, is that we are not unique at all. Now, one of the big things is our jobs. We were not able to really talk about our jobs in the past, and we weren't able to disclose where we work, but now we no longer work, so we can share with you all that we are civil servants. So that means we have an average income. Another thing is we don't come from money, we don't have a large inheritance, and we also have kids. So we were able to achieve FIRE despite all of these things.
I think that that's huge. I think that's huge that they call that out. A lot of people, when they consider financial independence, they just think that it's for the wealthy. You know, they're not making hundreds of thousands of dollars each, right? Like, they're making very standard incomes, but still, with all the things that they have been doing, all the side hustles, right, all the investment in accounts that they have, they still were able to achieve FIRE relatively early, right? That's key.
Now, the reason why I point out that we were civil servants is because I think that is a big deal. I think most people think in order to achieve FIRE, you have to have a huge income, or you have to be single, or if you're not single, you have to be married with no kids. But we are living proof that you can achieve FIRE on an average salary without an inheritance at all and with kids.
Now, I just want to pause on that for 1 minute because we were government employees. We had very average incomes. We didn't come from a lot of money and we were able to achieve FIRE. So now let's get to the fun part. Where are we retiring to? We are sitting in an empty house. We only have 4 chairs and my butt hurts sitting in just these 4 chairs. But we are planning for our next adventure. If you have been watching our channel, you know that we have talked about retiring in Portugal, in Spain, in Thailand, and in the US. And so it was a really hard decision to pick where we were going to retire to. But our FIRE number was based off of the most expensive scenario. And after long thought and long research, we have decided to retire in Lisbon, Portugal.
So we have been to Portugal several times and we love Portugal. We are going to make a future video expanding on why specifically we chose Lisbon, Portugal.
But let me talk to you more from an objective reason why financial independence is such a dope concept. I think that once you're financially independent, whatever you do to make money before that happens is time. Your most valuable asset in these couple of short hours that you're on this planet is time. It's what you're doing with the 24 hours that you have available to you in a single day, and how much of that is dedicated towards things that you are actually wanting to do, dedicated towards things that's actually making you happy and fulfilled. Now, this sense of happiness and fulfillment is going to be different for everybody. But I think that what the 21st century, this idea of a 9 to 5, right? This wake up, go to work, go to sleep, and then do that for 40 to 50 years. This idea is so ingrained into our culture and our society that we just think that it's normal. We just think that it's normal for day in and day out, for that commute to work, to sit somewhere in a building or outside for 8-9 hours, go home, do a couple of quick things before you go to sleep, and then wake up and do it again for decades on end. But the purpose of sharing information like this with you is to show you that it's not true. You can set your life up in a way, if you're smart about it and you start early enough, where that doesn't need to be your truth. And as you get into the later parts of your years, you can dedicate more time towards something that you actually want to do. You know, there's people that figure it out really early, how they are able to utilize the most amount of their time with something that they actually want to do, to an extent that it doesn't even feel like work anymore. And I salute those people, but that's not the general mass of people, right? So I think that this is important, super important information. And I know a lot of people that watch this channel are in your 20s. So now the time is now, right? I'm 34 years old right now, and I'm looking at this stuff. And I've been on a journey. I've been on a debt-free journey. I've been on a financial independence journey. I'm still, in my mind, it's not made up yet whether or not what I'm gonna do once I reach this number, right? I don't think that I'm gonna be able to retire early, because I generally have a lot of fun and happiness in the stuff that I do right now in my 9 to 5. But I know everyone's situation is different. But let's talk about it though. I wanna see you guys' comments down in the description box down below, because this lifestyle, this FIRE lifestyle, getting a family, getting married, 2 kids, retirement early, living conservatively, compared to a Dan Bilzerian lifestyle, spending money, spending it fast, beautiful women, no kids. What's really happiness? Let's talk about it in a way that we critically think about what happiness is. We challenge the ideas that are presented to us, and we go forward in a walk where we are confident at the end of that lifestyle you have lived fulfilled and happy. Those 2 different lifestyles. Let's talk about it down in the comment section down below, all right? Until next time, YouTube.